We're joined now by Dick Morris. Love to get his take on all this. Political genius. Got Bill Clinton reelected in 1996. Dick, welcome back. Tell us, what does this all mean? What are you thinking right now?
I've been listening to your show, which is great as always, but your two previous guests, Jenna and Mark, I think missed something. It is not just up to the courts to determine this. There's also the state legislatures, because the Constitution gives the state legislatures, not the states, but the legislatures of the states, the governors are out of it, the capacity to award and determine the manner of selecting the electoral votes from that state. And I believe that what people should do is to call their state rep or their state senator, if they live in one of those swing states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Nevada, Arizona, and call them and say, we want you to stand up and demand an honest vote count. And we want you to intervene if there is not. Specifically, what I'm urging is that the state legislatures in these states that are controlled by the Republicans stand up and say, we are going to oversee this. We're going to have hearings. We're going to call in the election counters. We're going to look at the ballots ourselves. And we are going to make a determination as to what the actual vote count is. Then the courts can review it. But we're going to do it first because it's our right as the state legislature to do that. And I think that what is needed now is a ground, but these guys are conflict averse. They don't like to work hard. They're home. They got the election won. What we need to do is to light a fire under them and say, if you don't speak up now, we're not coming to speak up for you again when you go for re-election. And make sure that they get involved. It disturbs me that nobody is talking about the state legislature. They're all talking about the courts. Well, that's fine. But the courts really can't be influenced as much by public opinion. Legislators can. And for them to be delegating the counting of the state to the Democratic governors and the Democratic election officials and say, you have to go ahead and do it, and we'll have some people observe it, so maybe we could do court fights, is just not enough. They should assert their legislative power to oversee this process. I would urge every state to set up a joint legislative committee of the two houses, bipartisan but with Republican majorities, to hold hearings, to take evidence, to examine ballots, to examine the process, and then come to their own conclusions as to how the electoral votes from that state ought to be awarded.
Makes a lot of sense, Dick, and I'm not hearing, you're right, anyone talk about this. And but these are the mechanics of government. This is the stuff that really, this is where the rubber meets the road. The state legislators, they're the electors, right?
Yeah, well, they're the people
who
charged
appoint
by
the electors.
Constitution with appointing the electors. Exactly. It's their job. And they are used to just letting the bureaucracy do it. But when you have such manifest evidence of fraud, I love these people who say there's no evidence. Well, how can there be evidence? We can't look at the ballots. When there's such manifest implications with the vote counts and the unanimous votes for Biden and when the new tranche of voters is discovered, that's sufficient evidence to enable them to go in and look at all this stuff, use their subpoena power, use their ability to hold hearings, and determine for themselves what happened in their state.
You know, you mentioned without evidence, and they're always saying the president said it without evidence, like because they can't Google it and find it out for themselves, and it must not be true. You've been in the Oval Office. You know how it works. The president can get anybody on the phone basically in the world, and whoever that person is on the other end of the phone, they tend to say stuff of importance, correct?
Yeah. Well, look, I think that that leaving the legislature out of this entirely is basically saying that that democratic process, small d, doesn't work. And it's up. And if the governors want to orchestrate a coup d'etat, they can. Make no mistake, this is the third attempt to oust Donald Trump from office by chicanery. There was the Russia investigation, there was the impeachment, and now there's this phony voting. And we're all sitting around here waiting for Arizona and Pennsylvania. They're looking at the other states and saying, how many votes do I have to steal here to win the election? When Dershowitz says that unless it makes a difference in the outcome, the court will be reluctant to rule, then what that means is they can steal Arizona or Nevada so that they don't have to rely on Pennsylvania, and they can say it's moot when you challenge Pennsylvania. This is the strategy they're working on, and we're like fools not getting in there and contesting it ourselves.
So, Dick, all right, you made the case. In total sense, you've told our viewers, call your state lawmakers. What else can be done? What else are you doing? What else should be done to get the word out?
Get everybody you know to call them. These guys get maybe 10 phone calls a week from people telling them what they think, other than lobbyists. When it goes up to 30, they have a fit. It goes up to 100, they absolutely are apoplectic. Get hundreds and thousands of people to call their senator and representative and say, why the hell did we elect you? And why can you call yourself a Republican when you're letting Donald Trump have the election stolen out from under him, and you're not lifting a finger, even though you're in charge of this process as a legislator? Let him have it.
Okay, you hear that, everybody? We're talking about state lawmakers in Pennsylvania, in Wisconsin, in Michigan, and perhaps even Georgia, North Carolina, and Arizona, correct? Anywhere else?
And Nevada.
Nevada. Okay, and you're right. These state lawmakers, these are half-time jobs, part-time jobs. They're not really all that, are they? I mean, hey, it's honorable, but it's part-time work. So they would like the phone. They'd like the attention.
Maybe not, but they're going to get it.
All right. Well, I'm going to do my part. I'll tweet like a lunatic about this and tell everybody to go to dickmorris.com. Dick, I think you may have the answer that we've been looking for. We've been kind of waiting for something to do. So let's get on it. And Dick, you know a lot of people. You got to be working the phones too, okay?
Exactly.
All right. Dick Morris, so glad you came on tonight. dickmorris.com. Check it out. The presidential political strategist and Newsmax analyst. Thank you very, very much. Got all